Hello, everyone, and welcome to Teacher Impact. I am your host, Agnolia B. Gay, and we are having conversations with one of my students, Mr. C. James Humphrey, and he should be here shortly. I am a 23 and a half year veteran educator and who um, just recently um, retired from Little Rock School District. What is he doing? Okay, he just said something. Okay, where is he? No. Okay, so we're waiting on Mr. C. James Humphrey to join us, and we will start our conversation. So again, this is Teacher Impact, and the purpose of our show is to give teachers a voice, give students an opportunity to honor and celebrate those teachers that made a positive impact on their lives. And I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. I am just waiting for my guest to show up. We really appreciate you. You can find Teacher Impact on the CI Media network. That's Cultural Immersion Media Network, which is a brand new network on the Roku channel. And so while I'm waiting for my guest to arrive, please, let's see if this is him. Please go to the Roku streaming channel, search Cultural Immersion Media, and add us to your apps, and you will be able to find us already launched. We are a brand new show, a brand new network, and I have another show entitled A Literary Look at the Works of. So, what are you saying to me? I'm adding. Okay. Just a second. Brings it in. Okay. There we go. Okay. All right. So this is my very first time doing this. So I know I'm squinting. I see Erica. Thank you, Erica. I got my glasses on. And see what else I need to do. It says still adding. Um, but I'm excited to talk to C. James, a literary look at. We did our first show with Stacey James McAdoo. She has a couple of books, and so she was my very first guest, my forever 2019 Teacher of the Year. Um, and so that's another show you can find on Cultural Immersion Media. So I need to, I'm trying to bring him on. I don't know what I'm doing, but we're going to keep playing with it. And then eventually, okay,
Hey,
bam!
hey.
She did it. Thank you very much. I have added my guest. Hi, CJ.
Hey, how's it going?
Excellent. Welcome to Teacher Impact. I was just talking to our audience and allowing them to know that you were on your way, and I was hoping
Yeah.
I was doing the right thing. But we are so excited to have you join us here today. We do have um, some people watching, and we are so excited that you are here with us tonight. Teacher Impact.
Um, so, as I was saying earlier before C. James got here, uh, I thought our first connect was on the high school level. He allowed me to know it was on the elementary level. So we got a lot to talk about.
Yes.
Um, Again, I want to thank our audience for being here. And we're just going to jump right on into the talk show. And I'm going to let C. James tell us a little bit about him. I'm going to give him the platform. You talk um, and tell us again, this is about teacher impact. I would like for you to first tell us who C. James is, and then we'll take that journey with you from elementary to high school and beyond, and how not just Agnolia Be Gay, but how you were impacted by teachers. So, who is C. James Humphrey?
Born and raised here in Little Rock, Arkansas. Grew up near the state fairgrounds, not too far from Little Rock Central. Used to walk to elementary school over there at Mitchell, which is now, I think, Scholar Made Academy.
Yes.
Went there from kindergarten all the way up to fourth grade, left, went to Pulaski Heights, came back in fifth and sixth grade. I do some acting, some modeling, now producing, directing, and writing. Just finished my feature film called Nice Guys Finish Last. Shot it here in Little Rock, Arkansas. Had over 100 cast and crew be a part of this project.
Wow.
Yeah, and they were from all over, from Chicago, Atlanta, Dallas, Memphis, Houston. But 90% of the cast were from here in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Wow, wow, that is beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay, so on teacher impact, we want to focus on teachers. I'll come back to Good Guys Finish Last because we definitely want to know when it's premiering. We want to know how we can watch it. But let's just delve into teachers and how teachers impacted you. Let's go back to Mitchell. Let's start. Can we start at
Okay.
Mitchell?
Yeah, we can
All right.
start at Mitchell.
Yeah. So, what were some who were some teachers that you remember? And tell me, because we do understand that sometimes teachers, well, most of the time we want teachers to have a positive impact. That's what we expect, but that doesn't always happen. But I want C. James to tell me what your experience have been with teachers on an elementary level.
Oh, it was awesome. I tell people all the time, they ask me where I get everything, like how did I become who I am? And I tell them, honestly, my elementary school like instilled a lot of this stuff in me. So when I talk about that type of stuff, I explain to them at a very early age, they taught us who we were and where we came from.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that, during Black History Month, we actually sang the Black National Anthem the whole
Mm-hmm.
month. And I've met so many people throughout my lifetime that didn't even know that that existed.
Wow.
And people that look like me, I'm like, are you serious? Like, we sang that in kindergarten all the way up to sixth grade, and I'm like, as far back as I can remember, I
Mm-hmm.
remember doing coloring sheets of Martin Luther King. And first grade, I remember, so not just teachers but teachers, aides,
Mm-hmm.
assistants. So
Thank
I
you.
remember that the aides made me and a couple other guys sing End of the Road in the first grade in front of everybody at the talent
Wow.
show. So
Okay.
there was no, and I tell people, like, I've always been shy. I feel like I'm still shy, and they're like, "How you model and act and do all that?" I'm like, "Well, it's a talent, but my elementary school made me stand in front of the class and read poems and go up in front of the school and do that type of stuff. So it's just, I just learned to embrace it. That's what I tell people. I would try to hide and run from the spotlight, but it seemed like no matter how much I hid, the more the spotlight would get brighter. So
Well, come on, shout out a couple of names of some of those teachers, because we were talking the other night, and you, as a matter of fact, I saw a post that you put out there, and you were saying the creed from Mitchell, and
yes.
that was what I'm like, and how did he know I was at Mitchell? And that's when I found out, I remembered rather, that you had to be a student, and Mitchell was my very first year of teaching. So
Wow.
go on and talk about that.
Yeah. So I mean, so many teachers impacted me there. I mean, Coach G was one of my biggest cheerleaders. Coach Gunneman. He was like my first mentor. I remember my first time ever using a dictionary. He showed me how to do that. Ken Bright. Ken Bright.
Yes.
Miss Govan, Miss Walker, Missy Backway, Miss Stubblefield,
Yes.
Miss Irby, Miss Dade. Miss Dade she was my scout leader when I was in Boy Scouts, as well as my drama teacher before you got there.
All right, Kim Dade in the house.
And then my boy, he was always a cheerleader and for me, and was a big supporter. He always tell me he proud of me. It was Ken Milton. Ken Milton, that's my
all
boy.
those.
Yeah.
You know, and what's so crazy, C. James, if you don't call those teachers names, their names will not get called. You know, everybody won't get Teacher of the Year. Everybody won't
Right.
get different awards that teachers get. Everybody don't get, called down to the superintendent's office. So this show is to give students an opportunity to call those teachers' names and allow them to know that they did have a positive impact on them.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I mean, it sounds like you called every teacher's name. I don't believe you. He called every teacher's name from every year.
So I can tell you, I can give you reasons why for just about every one of them. Like, I mean, like I say, Coach G, like I say, he always was on me, like, was a big, hey man, you should do this, you should do that. Ken Milton, which I instill in my kids to this day, and people around me, he never ever allowed us to say the word "I can't."
Awesome.
I mean, he say, draw this. Oh, I can't. No, you can't say that. You're not allowed to say that word. There's no such thing as I can't in here. You have to try.
Wow. Yes.
So,
Yes.
like I say, Miss Walker, she helped me on my math and showed me different ways of how to do that. That's Missy Backway. She introduced us to African heritage and the Anansi and the Spider, wearing the garbs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Miss Stubblefield pretty much taught everybody in my family. So
Wow.
So from cousins to brothers, all the way. Yeah, she taught a lot of them. So
And Mitchell Elementary was my first stomping ground. That was the first school that I taught at. And the love that you talk about was real.
Oh, yes.
Those teachers that you are calling are teachers that embraced me my first year when I wasn't even certified. And so I'm sitting here with you tonight, and my heart is full because I know what you say about those teachers to be true. Okay, so that's elementary school. Okay, and was there any specific program or activity that stands out to you for Mitchell? And so you were fifth grade. I left and went to Central, but you were still in Mitchell sixth grade. do you remember when they shut Mitchell down? So Mitchell went on a few more years.
Yes, they shut it down around maybe 2007 or 8. Of course,
Okay.
I had graduated high school in 2004, so I was.
Okay. Okay.
But I do remember.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
But that was a really powerful school with powerful teachers. And I totally agree with you on that. So was there anything specific out of all the years, because you did 4 years, then you left, so you did from kindergarten and then you left for a year, you came back and did 2 more years. What's the one thing that just stands out for you for Mitchell Elementary?
Honestly, like I say, they focused on teaching us about ourselves, our history, as far as being a black student. They taught us powerful words, and you guys focused on the arts, the performing arts. Reading poems, doing plays, and I always go back to the powerful words of the Mitchell School Creed. I don't remember exactly everything, but I'm a capable and worthwhile person. I believe in myself. I respect myself and others. I accept the challenges of being in charge of my life. The choices I make now will influence my future. I mean, like, that stuff you teach a 5 and 6 year old. And we didn't even know what that stuff meant then. But
you remember it now.
I remember it now.
That is impact. That is impact. So Mitchell definitely impacted Mr. C. James Humphrey. So then where did you go after Mitchell?
I actually went to a couple of schools. I went to Mableville. First I went to Pulaski Heights Junior High. And then I went to Mableville Middle School.
Okay. And
that's when we did the switch from junior high to middle school. So I only got a chance to spend 2 years in that particular group or age group. So I only did 7th and 8th grade. Then I went straight to high school.
Okay. So would you say that elementary teachers were more impactful than your middle school teachers? And tell me why.
Definitely. I mean, they spoke positivity into me, told me what I could do. I can remember them teaching us how to what am I trying to say? Basically manners. I can remember we would sometimes have guests come to the school, and we would have to speak in certain engagements, or if a teacher asked the questions, they started making us say, what's 2 plus 2? You couldn't just yell out the answer. Of course, you had to raise your hand, and then you would have to address the teacher and the students. So you would say, teacher and fellow sagacious students, the answer to this is 4. Thank you. And have to sit down.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's stuff like that.
That sounds like great expectations to me. If I got some great expectation teachers out there, and I do remember great expectations being at Mitchell Elementary School before. But yes, those expectations just, and that means a lot for you to be able to come on the show tonight and say that you remember those things. And I know that there are a lot of teachers out there who were part of that program. And those teachers, if Miss Dade is not watching tonight, if Mr. Milton is not watching tonight, Miss Stubblefield, I'm hoping that they will go to somebody's page and they will see the wonderfully beautiful things that you're saying. And before we move forward, I just want to re-emphasize and would like for you to expound just a little bit, not a whole lot, on what you think was the difference as you moved into middle school and as you moved into junior high school. What changed?
I feel like we didn't get a chance to really build that rapport with the teachers. It was only a few a few teachers that I got a chance to build a rapport with, and honestly, most of them were coaches that I got a chance to build it with. So,
Is that because teachers didn't take the time? Were they
um,
intentional?
not I know now that I'm older, I see it's and I work with kids too. So, no, I mean they didn't have the time. It just was too many, and then we were just it just was too many kids that were not. I wouldn't say bad. They just were kids. They were kids. So
Mm-hmm.
what I tell people, bad compared to now and then is nowhere near the same. But I can
Yes.
remember like at Pulaski Heights, Keith Richardson, which was again my coach and teacher at
Yes.
Central.
Yes.
I was gonna quit running track at Pulaski Heights. I stopped showing up, and then next you know they like somebody at the door waiting on you. They need you. I'm like, I go to the door, I see his Coach Richardson. He like, hey,
Wow.
where you been at? We've been looking for you. I'm like, Coach, I'm through running track. I ain't into that. I'm ready to play football. He was like, nah, you can't quit. I'll see you at practice today. I'm like,
Wow.
yes, sir.
And what else can you say? Well, I love it. You know, those are what we call drive-by. You know, they
Right.
don't drive by like they used to, though they need to. We
Yeah.
need to re-implement that where you just kind of drive by and check on the student.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
now,
Coach Williams was there too, who was my coach and teacher at Central too. So I just happened to get a couple of teachers that I ran into again for a few more years. So
all right, how awesome. Okay, so we did elementary, middle school, junior high, middle school, and now, Mr. Humphrey, you are at Central. What happened at
yeah.
Central High School? What's your memory of Central High School? What teachers impacted you?
Oh my Central. Coach Williams impacted me.
Mm-hmm.
When I got there as a freshman, he was my civics teacher. So he encouraged me to play football and run track.
Mm-hmm. Now,
He
is
got
that
me
Coach
my
Stan, is that Stan Williams?
Stan
All
Williams.
right,
Yeah.
call his name. Call his name.
Stan Williams. I talked to him about a month or two ago. So yeah, I still
Okay.
talk to Stan the man Williams. So he helped me get my first job, used to take me home after school. Taught me a lot. That Stan the man Williams definitely impacted my life there. Like I say, as a freshman all the way up to a senior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He
Awesome.
and Coach Seward.
Okay.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Coach Seward. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm,
Wow. And I was not aware that he had transitioned.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So come on. Who were some other teachers?
Of
Because
course, I had you
oh,
again and Miss Dade again.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I think I had you for communications or
Okay.
something. I don't know one of those classes. And
Yeah,
then
it was
Miss
either
Dade
communication or
or
drama.
drama,
Okay.
and I had Miss Dade for one or the other.
Okay.
But she remembered me when I was in her class because a lot of people remember me from elementary school because I had an older brother and he used to stay into stuff. So and
Mm-hmm.
and I was the opposite of him. So they would call me his name and him my name and stuff like. But she was like, "How's your brother Maurice?" and this and that. So it was just funny. She remembered me though, and I was telling her, I was like, "Yeah, I remember you, Miss Dade. I remember you was my scout leader." And
Wow.
when I was a Cub Scout, I was like, we were packed 144. She's like, "Boy, you got a good memory." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So
Um,
at Central, you caught up in sports. So
yeah.
so you spent a lot of time with coaches.
Yes. Yes. A
And so
lot.
so was it football and track? Did you continue to run track?
Yes. Football and track. Football and
Mm-hmm.
track. And I actually, once I got to high school, I ran freshman year. and I saw how they ran in high school. I was like, no, I don't think I want to. It's too hard. It's too hard. That's I tell people all the time. That's one of the hardest sports I ever participated in. So I set out my sophomore year running track, and I focused on football, and that allowed me to actually gain some strength, get bigger. So I put on some weight, and that helped me out a lot once I got to be a sophomore and junior and senior, stuff like that. But I did go back and run my junior year and senior year, and now hindsight is 2020. And actually, once I got to be in my senior year, Coach Seward. Well, actually, I wasn't going to run again my senior year. I was going to work. Coach Williams actually got me a job at Community Bakery, my first job, and I was going to focus on working. But he and Coach Seward was like, "Nope, you're going to run track." So I'm like, "Okay." Turns out hindsight 2020, I ended up being one of the top sprinters in the state.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And
Congratulations.
and I was like, wow, I could have focused on that more and probably went to the Olympics or something, but I didn't know. But like I say, having teachers and people push you to do stuff, you know, that's how I ended up, being one of the top sprinters.
Wonderful. Wonderful. You had said earlier building rapport, and you felt that teachers in elementary took the time to build rapport more so than the teachers in middle school, junior high school. What about on the high school level? Did your teachers across the board take the time? Because I hear you talking about sports that we understand. After school, you spend a lot of time with coaches. What about other teachers in your classes? Were they taking the time? Were we? And I'm owning it. Were we taking the time?
Yeah, honestly, I would say it was probably 80% of you guys at Central were taking the time. Most of my teachers, they were awesome. Most of them were awesome. They took the time to meet you where you were. And I was a person that never got put out or suspended. I've never in my life been suspended or put out or anything. It was one time I think I got in trouble, but it was another guy who got me in trouble. Like it was nothing I did. I was just they were just like, "Oh, you with them, so you go too." But it was cool though.
Right.
But, majority of the teachers though, they were really, really good though.
Awesome. So we have made it through high school. And so you told us earlier that you are writing and producing films, and we know that you had at least you had a communications class and you had a drama class.
Yes.
But we were talking and you said you never participated in the plays on the high school level. You never went to speech tournaments on the high school level. And as I reflect back, when I started seeing C. James Humphrey out here in engaging in all of these films and stuff, I'm like, he never did anything in my class. So tell me, how did you miss that? Was that, how did you not participate?
I have always wanted to be a part of that stuff, and growing up, like I said, elementary school instilled it in me, but high school was kind of like a blur. It just went by fast. I was focused on football. That's what I was focused on. I kind of got to a point to where I was like, okay, this is what I want to do is play football. But honestly, I always knew in the back of my mind, if I did happen to go pro or do anything, I was gonna be like Jim Brown. I was gonna do the film.
You gonna do both.
I'm gonna do both. So that was always in my mind. So I liked it. And a lot of people always say I look serious all the time, but I'm always laughing and playing and got jokes. So comedy is what I like and what I love. So grew up watching Martin, Will Smith, Jamie Foxx, and I do some really good impressions as well.
Okay,
so.
well, don't tell me, show me. I'm the show me teacher. You got impressions.
Yes, I got a few of them. Let's see. First, I would like to tell Michelle that Mitchell School Elementary did a great job. That's just one of them.
Well, we know who that was. That was our forever 44th president. Okay,
Right.
give me another one.
Let me see. Okay. La 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 la. Almost wrong. So that's one.
Love it, love it.
But yeah, that's one that they probably don't ever expect to hear somebody like that. But it's a few of them.
You were holding out. You were holding out. You never shared any of that during my class. I missed all of that. Shame on you.
Honestly, I got in trouble enough to where I was like, okay, let me sit my butt down and don't say nothing. So I could have definitely been the class clown. There was a couple times I was a class clown, maybe off campus at a football game or something. Like I remember one time some guys, they were ranking and telling jokes, and then I just had to let them know I'm from the hood now. You know, like I said, I used to walk the Mitchell, so I had to let them know. You know, I had to roast them back. So I did an impression of the Crocodile Hunter.
Dundee.
Steve Irwin, the Crocodile Hunter. So he passed away by the stingray stabbing. You know what I'm talking about? So one of my good buddies, he was roasting, and I was like, okay, man, you so dark. You look like you something, and then I got to doing the the voice of the Crocodile Hunter. I was like, "It's a right little fella, gonna throw a sneak right up at him." And it was people like, I was like, as you can see by the color of his skin, you can tell that he's nocturnal, and they was just crying, laughing, like they was like, stop. So
love it. love it. Okay, so now let's move on forward to what you're doing right now as far as your films, producing, and tell me, who were you talking to? Who, was telling you, how did you get to this point? And when did you make that decision that you were going to start writing? What happened?
Well, honestly, for the most part, I've always been kind of a self-motivated person. So there was nothing that I was not afraid to do, if that makes sense. So through the years, just playing around on the camera, of course, people were like, oh man, you photogenic. So after posting pictures and just playing around on the camera, people started asking me to do photo shoots and modeling. That led to me being into like a Arkansas Bridal magazine, and then that led into me being with the agency, and then doing commercials for print, and then video, and then somebody was like, "Do you act?" I went to acting and got a chance to be a part of stage plays, some films, and stuff like that.
Come on, give me some names of some plays that you've done, and how long were you with the agency?
I'm still with the agency.
Okay.
I just got a paycheck, praise the Lord, a week ago.
Yeah.
But so my first time I was a part of the stage crew, the stage hand, as Church, the stage play Church, like you're going to church, with Legina Spiller Bearden. She has her own studio in North Little Rock. So that was my first
studios. I've heard of it. Okay.
So I was a stagehand with her, did some volunteer work with her, and Jennifer Davis. I got a chance to be a part of her film, Freedom. It started out as a stage play. I didn't do that, but I was in Freedom, and then also I was in the stage play with Sabrina Wright, with So Right Productions,
Right.
based on the book Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places. I was in that stage play. The film, Then There Was Joe, I was in that, which is, and then it was another film that I can't, some of that stuff I can't even remember.
Right. Right.
Done a bunch of
Awesome.
commercials.
Okay.
So if y'all see me on I think it's McClarty Nissan, they showing that one a lot. That's why Coach Williams called me. He said, "Hey man, every time I turn on TV, I see you." So
All right. And every time that commercial run, you get paid, right?
yeah. Well, no, there was they just paid us off, so I just got a one-time
Okay,
rate
so they
up
just
front,
get.
so.
Well, there are some big time commercials. You get residuals.
Residuals, yes,
Residuals.
yes.
Yes.
There was one healthcare commercial I was in. I got residuals for. That was pretty cool.
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about now is Good Guys finished last. This is your first film that you have written and produced, or is what has C. James done for C. James?
Okay, technically it's my second film. So
Okay.
I actually did a documentary on my Little League football coach, Ed Johnson, which is he coaches the Sunset Tigers.
Okay.
Now, I felt like that was a story because he's impacted not just my life, of thousands of other guys' lives, but I just feel like that was a story that I need to tell.
Love it.
And I just took it up on myself to shoot a documentary. So for those of you that don't know who Ed Johnson is, he just received the Arkansas Black Hall of Fame honor the last time he did that, but he's been coaching the Sunset Tigers for 51 years this year.
Wow.
So Keith Jackson played for him, his son played for him, that son is coaching for him, Leslie O'Neal, a whole bunch of other people that y'all probably went to school with in high school. Now they got kids and he got grandkids. Some of them probably got great grandkids playing for him. So
awesome.
Yeah,
Wow. And I think that's beautiful, and that's a testament for Mr. Johnson, and I would say so did you do it by yourself, or did you get some other, players to work with you? How did you do that?
I mean, I came up with the idea that I wanted to do it myself. So I was just like, okay, I wanted to either write a book or shoot a movie. So I was like, I know authors, but I don't know anybody that shot a movie. So I'm going to shoot a movie or a documentary. So I just called up one of my buddies to help me as far as being a cameraman. And then I reached out to Coach Ed and then other players so I can interview them and talk about it. So I reached out to as many people as I could that I could think of and got and interviewed them and shot it. So
did you submit the documentary to film festivals, or what did you do with it?
I did not submit it to the film festivals. I actually just was, honestly, I was just doing it to kind of show my appreciation, and then whoever wanted to see it, I'll let them see it. But I did submit it this year to one film festival, but there was something going on with the one of the people that I used to shoot it. He got into it with some of the people that actually run the film festival. So they were saying if I'm gonna submit, I would have to take him out. So, which is why I've always been like, you know what? Okay, I don't care. I don't need you. I'll do my own film festival. So that's in the works. I ain't worried about it. I'm not worried about it. So that's in the works. But I mean, yeah, they tried to pull that. So it's okay. It's all good. And it's more film festivals that I can apply to outside of.
Of course.
Here.
Of course.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But
Yes.
Um,
Okay. So that was a local film festival that you were.
it was a local
Okay.
one. Yeah.
Gotcha. We won't talk about that.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Okay.
all good.
So, all right. So now we did the documentary, and of course, Coach got a copy of that.
Yes, he did. And
That
honestly, I talked to one of my other buddies, Marcus, which he has his own Roku network.
okay.
Marcus, he was like, "Man, it's bigger than that. You gotta do something. It's bigger than that." So I was like, "You're right." I was like, "We got to turn this into a movie." So I went and got a computer,
Mhm.
downloaded the screenwriting software, and started
Mhm.
writing based off the
Mhm.
documentary. So I wrote a
Oh,
script.
wow.
I wrote a script.
But you haven't done it yet.
No, so the way I wrote it, I was like, okay, I can just, try to pitch it to a big studio and try to get them to
Mhm.
shoot it.
Mhm.
Um, but when you're a no-name person, coming up and
Mhm.
I didn't go to film school or nothing either. So, but, you
Right.
know,
For sure. But because Marcus has a television network, why can't you run it on his show?
well, so that's what I was getting ready to get at. So when
Okay.
I wrote it, I had the mindset that I was going to have a big network um, produce it and shoot it. So with that being said, the way it's written, it's gonna cost some millions of dollars because
Wow.
because it's Little League football, and then for those of you who are not familiar with the story, Coach Ed actually is a Vietnam War vet. He has 2 Purple Hearts, a
Wow.
Silver Star, a Bronze Star, and he wasn't supposed to walk again, but he's walking and doing whatever he's going to do. So I was going to tell a
Wow.
story on how he got to the military and then how he became a coach.
Yeah.
Um,
Awesome.
and that's gonna cost a lot of money. How he got his
Right.
awards, tanks
Right.
and planes and all that stuff. That's gonna cost millions of dollars. So I wasn't. So that's what actually brought me to Nice Guys Finish Last. So I was like,
Um,
okay, I need to write something that I would be able to shoot on a small budget, on a micro budget
right.
here locally. And then once they see me putting in the work there, then I might can get the funding for that. So
So,
that's how I
so
came to.
really, all three of these works are interconnected.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That is pretty powerful. That's pretty powerful. Let me ask you this. So, so are you the first person in your family that's ever attempted to do any of this? Was your older sibling, was he in sport?
I'm pretty sure I'm the only person that I can think of, and I'm a person that does like the family genealogy and all this stuff. I
Mhm.
go all the way back to the great greats, and I'm pretty sure I'm
Right,
the only person I can think of that kind of was doing this type of stuff. Yeah.
right.
I was the first one to kind of I get my degrees. I have
Mhm.
4 degrees. Yeah,
Okay,
1, 2. Yeah, 4 degrees. So I
talk
got
about them. Talk about them. What are
all
they?
right. I got an associate's. Well. Let me tell you this. Let me tell you how
Okay.
this how God works right here. Right. All right. Of course, we had these big dreams growing up. I'm gonna go to this college, play football, do this, do that. It was
Hmm.
one school that pulled me out of class to talk to me about going to college. That school was Arkansas Baptist College. I was like, nah, I'm probably gonna go out of state somewhere and go play
Hmm.
football. Come back
Hmm.
full circle. About 4 years later, I ended up going there and playing football at Arkansas Baptist College. That's where
Wow.
I earned my associates in African American male leadership. Um, the other one is in business administration. Then my bachelor's in business administration. Then I also attended Strayer University and got
Hmm.
my master's of business administration. By me
I
obtaining
attended Strayer.
okay.
I got my master's from Strayer too. Awesome.
And
Okay.
me earning my master's of business administration gave me the confidence to say, well, you know how it is when you go to Strayer, we're writing papers left and all day, every day. So I was like, well, I wrote a paper every week for 2 classes. There's 3 to 5 pages at least for 2.5, 3 years. I can write a book or a script if I want to. So
Yeah.
that gave me the confidence to say, I'm gonna sit down and write a script. I can tell a story. I can do that. So that's how I
Awesome.
just had the confidence just to sit down and say, all right, I'm gonna do it. Of course I did my research and YouTube and Google and all of that, but yeah.
Okay, was that 3 or was that the 4th one?
That was 4. So I got 2 associates, a bachelor's, and my master's. So yes.
Okay. Well, congratulations. I think that is awesome. Awesome. And
also, I want to say this. It seems like the one that I end up having to use the most to talk about the most is the African American male leadership.
Okay.
This was in that particular study in classes. We were talking about this in 2007 and 2008 as policing, community policing, police violence on Black men, on how being a Black male and attending college drastically drops the numbers of you getting arrested or down to violence. We've been talking about this stuff that's at the forefront right now. So we've been talking about that. That Officer Norman, that he went viral for. I mean, honestly, Dean Donald Northcross has a whole program that is specifically designed to target and work with young Black males called the Our Kids program or the OK program. And they actually were once headquartered at Arkansas Baptist College while I was there. But they specifically use Black male police officers to mentor other young Black males.
Right. So, and that was every Saturday, wasn't it? Didn't they meet? Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that. So would you consider yourself, so in this leadership program that you're doing, talk a little bit about that. You said that you were working with young Black males. Can you talk about that program?
Oh, well, in that class, we had to work with young Black males. So like I said, they taught us about how to interact with the police. Of course, the talk, presenting yourself well, of course, yes sir, no sir, all of that. Also, they not only talked about that, they also taught us about financial literacy as well, 401ks, credit, debits and credit.
So was that just a one semester class? What?
No, that, like I say, that's a degree program. That was a degree.
It was and so this is what the journey through from. Okay.
Yes,
awesome.
Of course, and it's a Baptist college, so of course, learn about Christianity, God, and as the male's role in the family.
Who were some of your professors?
It was Fitzhill, Donald Northcross. At the time, he was Chief Eric Higgins. Now he's Sheriff Eric Higgins. It's, let me see, Mr. Ashley, Mr. Banks. At the time, what's his name? He's moved though. He's a pastor. I can't think of his name right now.
It sounds like all of them were male teachers. So you're saying for this program, they only had male teachers for this program?
Well, mostly male teachers. It was mostly male teachers. Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to think about it. Yeah.
All right. And so the way that you talk about the program, it seems like it in itself was very impactful for you, because I'm listening to everything that you talk about, the subject matter, relevant, necessary, meaningful.
Yes. Very, very impactful. I mean, it opened my eyes to a lot more. And, like I say, we talked about I can remember I was probably 22, 21, and my little nephew was getting in trouble at school. So I had to go. They called me. I went to go check on him. And while I was there, it was a teacher that came out. She was giving me a talk how he was doing this and that. And then she was surprised because I finished one of her sentences. Before she was like, what they do is they take these young kids' scores, and I was like, they determine how many prisons they're gonna build. And she was looking at me like, I was like, we talk about this stuff
Yeah.
all day in class here. That's what's
Right.
going on. But
Right.
yeah, but yeah, that definitely impacted me. So I try to talk to my young brothers, but
Mhm.
at the same time, I always say I can talk to you all day, but you know, you got to start to listen, and I can only try to motivate you, you know,
Mhm.
and educate you, but I can't force you
What
to
happened?
participate. Hmm.
So were you a part of the OK program when you were coming up? I know you talk about it, you were aware of it. Was that something that you participated in? And what are you doing with that degree now?
No, I don't know if it was out yet. Maybe it was out. It was out. It was out when I was kind of an adolescent around that age group. But no, I didn't participate in it coming up. It started in Oakland, I think, and
Okay.
then Donald Norcross and Fitz Hill were coaches, or I think buddies or something, and that's how it kind of came here in Arkansas. So
Mhm.
it was introduced here when I was in college. But
Okay.
what I was a part of, like I say at Mitchell,
Mhm.
we did have Officer Jackson come through, which is kind of um it's kind of the similar thing where he was over the DARE program, so he would come talk
Yes.
to us about
There. Mhm.
DARE
Mhm.
and stopping the violence and stuff. And I think I was telling you about the Let Our Violence In
Mhm.
thing that you had as a part of as well at
Yeah.
Mitchell too. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's, I mean, what kept me out of a lot of stuff is that I played football.
Mhm.
Um, and like I said, I had Coach Ed and those guys kind of mentor me, but that's what kept me out of a lot of stuff.
Well, let me just say thank you, C. James, for taking the time to come and be my guest on Teacher Impact. And I want to apologize to my audience. I just went on and on and on, and I didn't stop and say thank you to the audience. I see that you're there and you've been with us from the beginning. This is Teacher Impact. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Agnolia Gay, 23 and a half year veteran educator, secondary level. And I'm talking to my student, C. James Humphrey. And I taught him in elementary school. He was fifth grade at Mitchell Elementary. And then I taught him again at Central High School, which I didn't remember that he was with me my first year of teaching. So, C. James, you remember my first year, and you remember when I taught you in high school.
Yes.
What was there a difference? Because that was like my very first year. Is there anything that was significant between your first experience with Agnolia Be Gay and when you got to high school?
I could tell that we probably wore your paces a little bit.
Oh, in high school? In high
Yeah,
school?
in high school. But we were
Yes.
pretty cool though. I enjoyed. This is sometimes my mind is just crazy. I do remember one time you had us pick out one of our favorite songs, and we had to kind of come and play it to the class, and we had to kind of describe and talk about it. I do remember
Mm-hmm.
that in your class. I don't know how I remember so many details about certain small things. I wish I could turn that on and turn it off. I used to be able to, but
Yep, and I remember that activity too because there are messages in music, and if we were had communications class, then I know that the kids, deal with music, but what's the message in the music? And so you had to facilitate that conversation,
mm,
um, and I'm pretty sure we had to guess what the title of the song was,
uh-huh.
um, and Yeah, so I definitely remember. Yeah, I was always, it was my intent to try to make learning fun.
Hmm.
Um, and so not just fun for the student, but also fun for the teachers. And that's what we want uh, our audience to understand, that learning should be fun.
Yeah.
And just what you talked about, the way you talked about teachers that you were impacted by. Um, for me, I'm smiling just listening to you. And so my um, assumption is that learning for you over the years have been fun.
And for the most part, it was to a certain extent. So
Okay.
I wouldn't say I was a great student in high school at all, but
Mm-hmm.
as you can see, my memory is pretty good, which is
Mm-hmm.
not a good thing. I wasn't learning stuff, I was memorizing stuff.
Wow.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Wow.
I would so if it didn't pique my interest, it wasn't fun,
Mm-hmm.
then one ear out the other. And I can remember probably 60% of it. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's another thing with me. Like I never like if it didn't interest me, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in that. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll do what I can do the best. I never pushed myself. That's one thing I wish I had done. And I never had anyone to push me. So that's why I say I'm like the
Mm-hmm.
first generation that
Right.
kind of like I was like, I always knew I was gonna go to college and I was like, okay, I'll just step it up. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes my little laid back and attitude about certain
For
things,
sure.
I'm like,
And see, that's
can
what
get
I
to me.
remember. I remember laid back. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I remember um, you just, being quiet, soft spoken, not really engaged in my class. But I
Yeah.
always knew that on the football field, your
Yeah.
name, we
Yeah.
hear and everything. And so after I left Central, I was at Pine Bluff High School. I went to Florida and I came back, and I
Okay.
was at Pine Bluff High School for a year, and I had the quarterback, the running back, the tight end, all of them in the same classroom.
Oh
You
Lord.
know, right, right. And it was at that point, C. James, that I said to those sports students and moving forward, everyone after that, I want you to be just as powerful in the classroom as you are on the football field. I want you to bring those same leadership qualities to my classroom that you bring to the field or the track, you know. And
Yeah.
so that made a difference for me. But every year, I feel that I became a better teacher because learning for me is reciprocal. Not
Mm.
only, and I didn't understand that in the beginning. I didn't understand that I'm learning from my students as well. I thought I had all the answers. You supposed to listen, and I'm gonna tell you and spoon feed you all of that. But this conversation tonight has been an eye opener and a learning experience for me. And I thank you for accepting my invitation. And
Mm.
thank you for honoring all of your teachers that have impacted you and sharing your journey from elementary until now.
Yes.
This has been a wonderful show, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. C. James Humphrey, and I would like for you to have the final word. C. James, please tell us what to expect, where we're going to, um, when is your movie coming out? What would you like to say as your final word?
Um. Yeah. Well, I'm a guy that I'm trying to bring Arkansas up. That's one of my things. I always try to bring people with me, which sometimes may be my downfall. Can't bring everybody with you, but I'm working on trying to do more big projects here in Arkansas, and I know a lot of us um, may feel like we're not appreciated in the arts and don't get paid what we should, and I want to try to be able to get to that type of level. So Nice Guys finished last as a film. Like I say, I wrote to be able to shoot on the type of budget that I can and use local people here and some people from out of state and be able to tell a story that would be funny but also start conversations. And it's purposely written that way to kind of start those conversations. It's kind of like let's see, The Best Man, Two Can Play That Game, and Boomerang all in one movie.
Wow.
But yeah, and keep in mind it's a comedy. It's funny, romantic comedy. It's funny or whatever. But
And you're the lead.
I am the lead. I wrote, produced it, and I am the lead. Yes.
All right. All right.
But it will be out late spring, early summer. Trailer will the final trailer will be ready in about a week.
Okay.
I have a rough draft Friday, but and also there are a lot of artists that are from Arkansas that are gonna be on the soundtrack too. So stay on the lookout for that as well.
Wow.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you to our viewers for hanging out with us. This has been Teacher Impact. My guest tonight, my student from elementary and high school, Mr. C. James Humphrey, and I am your host, Magnolia B. Gay. Thank you so much for joining us. And you can watch this show again on Cultural Immersion Media on your Roku station. Again, go to Roku streaming, search Cultural Immersion Media, and you will find us there. We will see you next time on Teacher Impact. And good night.
Good night.
All right. All right. Let's see. Now I don't know how to stop it. All right.